Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the build of the week, and this week's build of the week is the Fused Fighters category. Now Fused Fighters as a category is slightly different to Fusion. Fusion is the art or act of the Metamore fusion, essentially for the most part. And Potara is the art of combining via the Potara earrings. Now Fused Fighters includes both those sets of units, but also includes units via assimilation, so Android 13, Piccolo, etc. And also includes basically units like Super 17, who are kind of designed to, I guess, combine together, essentially. So pretty straightforward stuff, and honestly speaking, the category is pretty good. Obviously you're going to always have some pretty high level hitters in this team. You're going to have units like Gogeta, Vegito, duo card units, Piccolo, pretty much anything like that is going to obviously give you a pretty good foundation. Fused Fighters only currently has 2 leads, the one being the 7th year LR unit, the SS4 Goku and Vegeta, who has a SS4 Gogeta active skill. They are the original lead, and a pretty good one. They're 200% for a couple units. But the big lead is the Tech Zamasu, obviously a recent addition into the game with the Worldwide Celebration. Very strong unit. So he is a 30% lead, and because he covers 170%, because he covers 30% for final trump card, he actually has a pretty good coverage for the vast majority of this category, because as you can imagine, Fused Fighters has some pretty good crossover with final trump card. And speaking of that, Fused Fighters has some pretty good crossover with a couple categories: Time Limit, Connected Hope, obviously Fusion, obviously Potara, but movie heroes as well, and Joint Forces. Now, in terms of team build, obviously you can go pretty straightforward with these. You can go for like your Gogeta Vegito builds, which are obviously pretty strong and always going to be relevant, because we'll definitely get at least one good variant of each unit a year, if not, at least one of them a year. Then you get kind of the hybrid build, which incorporates some Piccolos, but keeps the team mainly on a super side of things. And then you get kind of a full-on hybrid build, which is probably one of the better builds, but does require you to do a little bit of jigging and a little bit of rotation management, where you incorporate some really, really crucial units like AGL Zamasu and Tech Zamasu, who are both obviously incredibly good. You can also use the LR in Zamasu, who's also pretty good, realistically. On the extreme side, building a full extreme team is very difficult, mainly due to the fact that the roster is very small. There is a very good extreme variant here, but it's basically you need every single unit on it. LR in Zamasu, AGL Zamasu, the LR Tech Zamasu, the AGL 13, the AGL Super 17, Janembu, and Super 17 LR probably are the utmost viable units for the extreme team. Now they're not going to mesh super well, but you can build a team from them. In terms of meshing and links, that's where things get a little bit wonky for Fused Fighters. Generally speaking, Gogeta and Vegito units don't necessarily struggle linking with each other. It's just not something that's an issue. The joined forces nature of a lot of these units does give some slight issues, because a lot of them will transform or turn into variants of themselves that are fusion. So things like Fused Fighter can be a little bit sporadic or erratically placed on cards. Great example of this is the physical LRs, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, who are obviously both great units, but transform into SS4 Gogeta, who has Fused Fighters as a link, which is great, of course, but does not share that with the tech counterpart that I've just shown you, nor do they share it with the AGL Blue Boys. All 3 of them would need to transform, which isn't the end of the world, but it's just something to be aware of. Now, generally speaking though, the super side links pretty well, especially if you stick to the Vegito and Gogeta metric. If you start incorporating some Piccolos, that's where you can run into a couple of hurdles. Piccolos don't necessarily share a lot of links with Gogeta and Vegeta, except they do share Brainiacs, which is pretty interesting. So speaking of links, and especially key links, let's talk about the major ones. So we have things like Big Bad Bosses on the extreme side, which isn't a key link, but it's just probably the only method you'd use to choose who to pair up together. Aside from that though, generally speaking, Fused Fighter, Shocking Speed, Prepared for Battle are probably the closest you're going to get to having a set link set here. Fear and Faith and Dismal Future is also somewhat common, especially amongst the future side of things, but generally speaking, Shocking Speed, Fused Fighter, all of these are going to be your staples. Prepared for Battle as well, and this should keep you pretty covered in terms of link sets. The extreme units won't link up very well, aside from these Zamasus who share Fused Fighter, but that will only work alongside the units that obviously hold that link as well. Go-Tanks also mesh as well nicely into these teams, but we just don't really have a premier Go-Tanks unit right now. We have some good ones, but just not a premier one. Aside from that, in terms of links, you get your stock standard affair on the super side. You get Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Fierce Battle, obviously across the board. All of these are going to be fairly common. But interestingly enough, for Vegito and Piccolo, there is a little bit of a Brainiac synergy, which is quite nice. At least you do get that link kind of messing. I'm not so sure why Vegito is a Brainiac. I know it's battle knowledge, not necessarily super smart people all the time. But it is just a bit strange that he has it, Gogeta doesn't. They're basically the same thing. Essentially though, Fuse Finders is a very fun category. I think it's very fun, it's very powerful, but the one thing I do like about it is the fact that it is kind of active skill, transformation based. A lot of the units take a little bit of time to get going or need to use their active skills. There's a lot of really interesting utility and synergy that you can kind of combine here. Like I said, there's plenty of derivatives you can build within the category itself. You can build GT teams, you can build Giant Empire teams, you can build some movie heroes teams. It's going to depend on your roster, but generally speaking, there's a nice wide range of this category to cover a couple different ones, allowing you to complete some challenges. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.